Hello everyone and welcome to the Android Study Jam session 2. The session was on 23rd December and I hope many of you had attended that. So yeah, let's get started. So these are the learning objectives of today's session. You will explore various folders in Android Studio. You'll build an interactive app. You'll learn about linear layouts. And you will also learn what are all the attributes in the app that you can add, you can edit. All these features shall be explained in today's session. So before we begin, just a reminder, if you have not created your developer profile, then please do it. I'll provide the link in the chat box. And also there are 2 courses for the Study Jam program, which are 2 tracks, that's Android Basics in Kotlin and Android Kotlin Fundamentals. In the last session, we had covered this, and in this session, we'll be covering the fundamentals. And in today's session, we'll be covering the first 3 pathways of the Android Kotlin Fundamentals. So, this is the app that we'll be building, an About Me app, a kind of resume or a bio providing app. You'll learn the basics of linear layout, and this is what we'll be building today. So you'll be learning about scroll view, image view, and text view, how to add all this into your app, and that's what you'll be learning today. So now let's get started. I hope all of you have downloaded your Android Studio. If not, then please do download it. As I've kept asking you all, so do have that. So now that you have your Android Studio installed, just open it. Let's start creating a project from scratch. So here we go. I hope my screen is visible. So let's create a new project. Let's call it. Let's create an empty project. Remember to choose this template from the when you create, and you can name your application anything. And for this, I'm just writing about the app. So this is what we'll be building today. Click on finish. It shall take about a minute to get finished, and you will get that. Here you can see Gradle configuration is running, and we should let that finish so that all the files gets so that you're done with it. So, the process is done, I think. Now that you have your project, an empty project ready in front of you, let's explore the various folders in the project. Let's begin with the project folder. The project folder can be found in the pane on the left side corner, and upon clicking, by default you will have the Android app configured to Android. In here you can see various folders. So let's explore each of this. Under the app folder, you can find the manifests folder, the Java folder, under which we have the main activity.kt. That's .kt stands for the extension for Kotlin files, and we have another folder, res, which stands for resources. All the resources that we use in our app are in here. The drawables are for the images, the layouts that we build, the min map, the values that we use, the strings, colors, etc. all come under this. So yeah, the main activity.kt is the file that drives the app. Like just the way we have a main function in a regular programming language, the same way for an app we have this main activity which runs the app. Now under layout, we also have another file that also comes open by default, that is activity main.xml. Let's see what is it. An activity is usually associated with the user interface. User interface is what you see on the screen. So what you see on the screen can be built easily in XML layout. So that is what is there in activity main.xml. This can be found in resource folder under layout. Inside resource, you find a layout folder under which you find the activity main.xml. This file, this is the design view, and you can also code it down. We'll be coding our app in this. We'll be building layouts in this activity main.xml. Last time we had discussed on how we can go with the design view, so this time we'll go with the code. Under the manifest folder, the first folder that you find, when we open this file includes the details that the Android system needs in order to run your app. It includes every part of the app. Here you can see that this is also the file where we give the various permissions, like if the app needs camera permission, etc. That's all stated in this file. You will explore more when you go through the code labs in the course. So yeah. Now let's explore the second folder. That's the Gradle Scripts folder that you find. The Gradle Script folder. Gradle is a build automation system that uses domain-specific language to describe the app's project structure. When you compile and run your app, you see the information about Gradle running. This information is about the Android packaging kit or the APK. APK is the file extension for every app that you build. So this information contains, this folder contains all the information about the app that you have built and that's being installed. Package file format that Android system uses. So when you look at this, you find a build.gradle file that's already there, and one with the project name, and the other with another with module and the project name. Project name is what we had put in the beginning. The project part contains the options that are common to all modules that take up. Right now, we will not be working on many modules or anything, so don't worry about all these complicated terms. And the second part, that is a module Gradle file. This contains the project level build.gradle that's built for each module. Each module has its own build.gradle, so it allows you to configure your build settings accordingly. So these are all the various folders. Now, last time also we had discussed how to run the app. To run the app, you can go to the in the top bar we have the run button, which leads you to the so when you click on this, you can see that tasks are being executed. A video or the Android virtual device is being started, and as soon as it starts, you can see the app running now. And now we see that it's successfully run. Let's see how our app is there. I know you won't be able to see. Okay. Okay, you guys are asking to zoom in a little bit. I'll surely do it. Just a second. Sorry, folks, for that. Just a minute, I'll do it. Yeah, this is basically the default app that gets built. So yeah, this is the default app, and you get a text of hello world in it. This is the app name or the project name that you give, and this is stands out to be the default configuration. And right now we have not coded anything, so don't worry about all the code. All the code that you just saw on the screen was what that was built there, that came default. Just that when I share the screen, I can't read your chats. I'm really sorry about that. I hope my screen is visible and font size is clear for all of you. If yes, then kindly put it on chat. How many of you are doing together, like live coding along? Okay, that's great, Ishika. Yeah, I think we should get started. Now we should build the layout. Now comes the coding part. Screen is visible, I guess. And now just open the activity underscore main dot xml file. This is the file that gives the design for your app. And yeah, so when you create the app, it gets created in the design view. And in design view, last time we had coded and everything came out to be like it seemed to come as hard-coded string, etc. All these things we'll be discussing today, how to avoid it. If my screen is visible, you can see this view option and click on show system UI so that you can clearly see how your app actually looks when you build the layout. By default, this is not enabled in many of when you just download Android Studio. So just make sure you enable this so that you get to know how your system UI will look. Now let's get started by building the layout. Last time we had discussed something about views and view groups. If you guys remember, view groups are basically something in which gives relationships between various elements in the user interface. So, like you have a text and you need a button under it, and you need to create a relationship between both of them. So for that, you'll need a view group. That is what a view group is. So If you want a button inside our app, we can drag down a button from here and place it. But right now it's just standing somewhere and it doesn't create any sense. We need to create a relationship. Let's delete this for now. Let's get started by understanding what a layout is. A linear layout is also a view group. If we switch on to the code part, you can see it on the top right corner. There are 3 tabs: code, split, and design. Just switch to code part. Delete. The default app is built on constraint layout, but we'll explore this later on. Now we'll be building on linear layout. A linear layout is also a view group, so as constraint layout, just erase all the code that comes in built default except the first line. So here we have the now let's get started with how adding a linear layout. So let's create a linear just remember to keep the first letter capital, then you'll get the whole sentence. Linear layout. Press enter, \key and close the linear layout as well so that you won't have any problem. Or you can do this later also. Inside linear layout, just add XML MS. It's XML namespace for Android, and you get to add the it's like an API call that you're adding a hyperlink. This is getting you through the default what's built in from Android. These links normally come together, but you can add it. XML is stands for yes. Just a second, I will show you. You can find all these details in the code labs that I just said about, so you don't have to worry about if you don't follow up with the code. So yeah, you have that on linear layout. These are the 2 things that you need to add. After this, you will add another line for the same. We'll learn more about it in further code lab, so don't worry about these first three lines. The rest will be explained today. Now let's go with the Android layout width. Basically, when you build the app, the layout width stands for the width of the screen in which the app has to fit in. You can scroll down to get the layout width and type in also. And here match parent stands for the parent component. What is outside this particular layout, it matches with the same width of the parent. The same thing we are going to add it for the height as well. So whatever we will lay out outside this particular layout, it is going to match with that same thing. So layout underscore height, we are again going to put it as match parent. Parent is what's outside this particular layout. So this particular layout will also take up the same. So something that's necessary always. Now we have something called Android orientation. Orientation is how the app actually stands out. We'll add that as well. The linear layout gives two types of orientation. One is vertical and the other is horizontal. So for this particular app, we'll be using the vertical orientation. So that's why we have put vertical orientation. Next, we also need to say where the context. So for this particular app is, so for tools, context is where this layout has to actually show, and we only have one particular Kotlin file, so we have to add it into that. That's main activity. Now let's close this and also the linear layout. Now that is all the errors have vanished, so this app looks perfectly fine. If you click on design, now you can see that there isn't any changes, except that now I don't have the text view because we deleted all the code. So about me app stands, and that's the app name on an app bar that comes default, and we have built a linear layout. That's what we just coded. This was not there before. We just coded that in our XML file. So yeah, next let's explore what's there in the design panel. Here we can see this particular center part stands for the design editor. On the left side, on the top, you can see the toolbars. There are various toolbars which provide buttons to configure the layout appearance in your design. And yeah, this is where I just changed to system UI, as I just said before. Then we have on the left side, on the top, we have the palette, which gives list of views and view groups that you can use in your app. That's down here. And below that, we have attributes. That's on the right side. This pane opens. If not, you can click it on the three vertical lines. If it's not open, you can click that so that you get your attributes pane. And then on the left below down corner, you have the component tree, which describes the hierarchy of ASA trees of views. A component tree is useful. It's very useful because it helps you to easily rearrange with the elements. When we add more elements into the app, then it becomes very confusing. But this component tree specifically says where all to go and what all to do. So this makes it easier. So that is why this component tree is present, and it's very useful when you're making an app. So till here, any doubts you can ask chat. You have just created a linear layout just now. If you have any doubts, then do ask in the chat box. And okay, it seems all of you are fine. So let's add a text view. While adding a text view, normally in the last time we coded the app, we just dragged a text view from the top and added into the center. This is one of the easiest way to add the text view. But instead of doing this, we can also code the thing down. But right now, let's do this because last time many of people did not hear or could not get because my system was not working properly. I'll just show you. On the from the palette, you can draw normally the common tab is open and you can find the text view at the top. You can just drag it to the screen and place it anywhere. It by default gets aligned to the top. So yeah, now let's set an ID for this text view. Click on the text view from the component tree, and here you can find the ideas text view too, which comes out as default. It can just come as text view because that would be your first text view. Just now I deleted one, so that's why it's showing too. Here I put the ID as main underscore text. You can actually give any ID for this. So an ID is used when you want to use this particular thing again and again in your program. So to refer it, we use IDs. Just the way while coding websites also, you must have known about this. Now we have a text. Now we have to add text. Here by default it says text view. I know this font will be very small. That's how it comes default. Yeah, I've just zoomed in so you guys can see. Instead of this text view, you can rename into your name. You can add your name because I'm just making a demo app. So for you people, you can add your name here, and yeah, you can press enter. But when you press enter, you see that there is an exclamation warning that says that the string has been hard coded, which you should not. So to avoid that, you can, instead of putting your name here, what you can do is there is a small pick a resource button, a small vertical line on the right hand side. You can click on that, and from the plus sign, add a string value, name the resource as my name, resource value as put your name, yeah, anything. In this, no spaces must be there. It's also written. So I just made it my underscore name. You can, in the resource value, you can actually put your name, whatever be it. I can even put it as my name, that's Sharanya. If you click OK, it gets added in the string.xml file. I'll show you. Click on this my name, click on OK, and here you can see that your name has been changed. What you just did is you added a resource in the resource folder that you have created. In the beginning, I said that all the resources are stored in the resource folder, and inside the values you can find string.xml. What you just did was string my underscore name, and you put the name as Sharanya. That's what I put. You can put your name, and you can see that it changes in the app as well. You don't need to code it every time there. You can put all the resources in one particular file and keep referring it through the this ID or whatever you say there. And if you see the XML file, you can see that it has changed from Sharanya to your name. That's what it has changed. Now that you see when the default layout, this is not at all visible and it's just too small. So we need to change the text size. So to change the text size, you can scroll down under common attributes. You'll find the text size. Just change it to 20 sp, and you can see that it's grown a bit bigger. When you run the app, you can find these changes. In the text appearance, yeah, you can change the color for this. That is, yeah, text color. And now you can see that it is a bit grayish. Now you want it to be black. For that, you make it Android colors black. Now you can see that the color has changed to black. And you align the text to the center so that it looks good in your app. So you aligned it to the center. Now just check the code part of the same XML file, and you can see that a text view has been added, an ID for that same text view, its layout width and layout has been matched. It has got a text with which fetches the my name from the string file. But if you edit from the string file, it gets changed here, and the text is aligned to center. The text color is set to black, and the size has been set to 20. All these things have come into code. All that you just added directly has been made into code. Now, even this 20 SP that we wrote has also been hard-coded, and we have not added any dimensions into it. We can also do that by clicking this, pressing Alt Enter. You can find the menu which says Extract Dimension Resources. Clicking on that, you can name your resource anything. For now, I am naming it text underscore size. You can name it anything and give its value to 20, and if you click OK, it also that's the same thing. Like in values folder, you find a dimensions, which is for all the dimensions in the app, and that's where you can find an attribute saying dimension size, which is set to 20 that you just did. So this can also be done so that all these things can be referred again. If you create another text, you don't have to hard code each and everything. So that's how. That's why this type this is how it works. As you must have heard the thing like object-oriented programming, all these concepts are, that's where it all gets covered. Now, if you run your app, you can see your name on the app. Like if we just click on rerun button, let that app run. I'll show you. Any doubts till now? We've added a text view into the screen, and we have got text view into our app. I hope you people are able to follow along. You can see on your screen on the emulator, we have got an attribute that says your name. If you had put your name here, it would have shown it as that. And yeah, this is what you have made till now. Before I proceed further, I have a question for all of you. You must have all heard the terms like padding, margin, border, etc. Can anyone tell where the difference lies? If any one of you know. What exactly does padding mean? Okay, padding is the space between the boundaries of a view or an element. I'll show you an image that will help you for better understanding. This is the two types of linear layer, that's horizontal and vertical. Yeah, this is what I was talking. Padding is basically the space inside the boundaries of view of an element, view or an element. It's a space between the edges of the view and the view of the content. That is, if a content is present, a space around it is what that makes the padding. In Android, we have paddings of different types, like for top, bottom, start, end, left, right, and all. So we'll be styling our text view by using some padding into it and margin and border, etc. We'll be doing that shortly. Margin is basically the space outside all the view border. Border, if you have added a border, all the space that's covering outside shall make the margin. Margin is also for top, bottom, start, end, left, right, etc. Now that one thing that comes into confusion is what is left, right versus start and end. So left, right flow, start, and this was for older versions of Android Studio. That's when it all started. So that is why according to old terminologies, it went in left and right view. Now it's top, bottom, start and end. Yeah. So now for our app, let's add some padding and margin, etc. Yeah. Now let's add padding. In the design tab, let's go to the design tab. In component tree, let's select the text view, which is supposed to be named as main_text. In the attribute pane, let's search for padding. Here we can find a lot of question marks. Here you can expand it to find all the different types of padding. The simple one is for all four edges goes with the same thing, then you can mention it here. Then we'll start left, top, and right and bottom that we just discussed. So for our app, let's add a padding for top, like we would see a padding at the top, some space around this component. So at the top we can click the small add resource button here, pick a resource. Let's create a new dimension value. We can name it a small padding. It's a simple reference. Giving names to relevant things makes it easier to understand our code later. Let's give it a margin of 8 dp. dp is abbreviation for density independent. Then like if the UI of our app looks the same size on different screen with different density, we use dp as unit measurements while specifying the size. You can click OK and it adds a new dimension so that you can refer it. Now you click on the small padding, click on OK. Now you can see that 8 dp padding has been added to your app. Now let's add a margin. Here in the search panel you can search for margin. That's the easiest way. You can also scroll down to find it. That's also fine. Under layout margin, let's add a top margin to it. Let's add a new dimension value again. We can use the same, but now we'll add a new one and call it layout margin. Let's give it a value of 16 dp. Click OK. Select this layout margin, click on OK, and you can see that a margin has been added. Now it's you can see it clearly that margin is what that's added outside the component, and padding is what which is added inside the component. I hope the difference is clearly clear. Like normally when you see you can't understand, but when you are adding it into a component and observing it in that way, it's visibly evident. So now we have added this. Now let's change the font. For changing the font, let's search for font family here. Now I'm scrolling down so that you can see. the font family, click on the down arrow, you can scroll down to find more fonts, search for anything, can whatever you like. Let's go with I like Angular, click OK, and it gets added. You can also edit this font in this way, like you selected click on regular. If you have other fonts, like suppose Photo, you can also have it thin, light. There are many different variants, so you can select anything. For example, we select regular, and you can go with regular for that. Let's click on OK. Now you can see the font of your of this particular text view has also been changed. So this is how we go on styling. Now let's extract this whole style so that we can reuse it when we add another text view into our app. To do this, right click on the text view in the component tree. You can see the various tabs. Here click on refractor and click on extract style. Here remember not to take up with the layout width and layout height, because that's not important, because we have not changed these components. And also the text alignment, because for every text the alignment can be different. So if we are extracting style, that's good. And let's name this name style, because you have style for the name text. Let's call it name style. Click on OK, and you can find a styles.xml file that's made with a style name style and all the dimension value that you just made, it all in one capsule, like the encapsulation concept of the object-oriented concept. You can relate it to that. So now if you run the app, you can find the new screen of what you just made. As it runs, let's see what happens. Gradle build is running. Gradle. And now it says that your app is ready. So let me share you the app that you just built. It has got a margin, it has got a padding, and the font has been changed. So we just styled the text component of the app. Now that we have done this, let's add an image into our app. So let's go to the Android XML file, activity XML file. In the design tab, we can drag an image view into the component tree below the text name. Here we get an option to choose various images. If we are to import an image, for that is our own photo, you can click on add resource to module, import drawables. You can choose any image that you have it in your device. You can choose your photo. Like if I want my photo, I can import that as well. You can click OK. Next. Now we can see that this particular image has got imported. But right now, as I'm making a demo app, let me use some general image. I'm choosing a big star, button star on. These are some of the drawables that are already present. That's given by Android Studio. There are 174 of them. As you can see, you can choose anything, or you can choose your own photo. That's preferable. You can then click on OK, and it gets imported. As you drag your image file under your text view, that shows that the image shall be displayed below the text. if we change this, if you want this image to be above our name, we can just rearrange this and you can have the image above the text. So from the component tree, it's easy to rearrange the elements in the view. So yeah, we added an image in the linear layout. Now if we can check the code, now we can find that a new image view has been added. It's got an ID. Yeah, we did specify a new ID, so it's become the default value of image view. You can change it to anything. You can change it to photo. Right now I'm changing to star image. It's easy to refer if we have it same way. It will ask a refract in every place. Refract means to change it every place wherever this particular thing has been used. Click on OK. Yeah. In the code part, as you can see, the ID has changed from image view to star image. Layout width and height has gone with the parent and wrap content. And the component that is to be used has been made to drawable button star on. That's what I choose. If you wanted to choose your own image, you can choose that as well by changing this particular thing. That's you'll have a different, as you just imported an image of your own, so you'll have it in that way. Next, in the design tab, you can see there's a warning in front of the star image that we just added, and it says image without any content description. So this means that we need to add a content description into for the image. So as we can see here, let's find out where the content description is. Yeah, here. Let's add a new string value so that you can actually reuse any string that you want, or you can create a new resource. I have just created one, so that's why I'm adding my name. That's what I created here into the description. Anyway, this is not to be displayed on screen, so you don't have to worry about that. And yeah. We have also let's also see how we can reuse the dimensions. So if you want to add a margin, let's search for the margin for this image view. Make sure that you have selected the image view from the component tree, or else it will get changed for the text view. If we can search for the margin here, layout margin, we can reuse the for the top value, we can reuse what we just created. Layout, for layout margin, what the dimension value we used it in the file, we can use the same thing here. Now you can see a margin has been added for the image, and yes, the image is slid down a bit so that enough margin exists between the text view and the image view, and you just reuse what you have already added in the dimensions file. So that's it. So that's how we got a margin for this particular image view. Like if you had your own photo, you could have also gone with the same thing. You can change that as well. Like I'll change, if I have to change this to my image, and find it here and choose it. And component that I imported, I click on OK. I'll get my photo with the same margin. Now that I'm making a demo app, I'm keeping it with the star. And now if we rerun the app, you can find the image and also a styled part of the image for the same. Let's run and see what we get. Running the app on the emulator, as you can see, you have got your name and your photo below it. Any doubts still here, feel free to ask. Chat box. Next, we'll learn about scroll view by adding some more text into our app. A little bit of Kotlin is necessary as we are not coding into it, we are building the layout for the file, so for that we don't need Kotlin, but yeah, if we are adding logic to the app, we will need it. Yeah, so next let's start with adding a scroll view to the app. I'll share my screen. This is what we have just made, and this stands out in the design layout, so design view. As you can see in the code, we also have the image view, a text view, a linear layout, a text view, and an image view. Now let's create a scroll view. Scroll view is when you want to scroll down to a particular content by keeping some particular part pinned onto the top of the screen, and if you just want to scroll on to the content below it, then that's how it's easy. This scroll view works. From the design tab, let's drag in a scroll view under the star image, as we want all the content below the star image to have a scroll. Let's drag it, and when we switch back to the code, we can see that the scroll view has been added. Here we can see that it has also got a linear layout within it, and yeah, as it can have a full-fledged layout inside the scroll view itself, that's why it's created a linear layout by default inside the scroll view. The height and width of the scroll view matches with the parent element, that is the layout that's above that, the other layout that we have created. And once the both our text view and the image view has been used, enough vertical space displayed within the content, the Android system lays out the scroll view to fill the rest of the available space. Let's add a ID for our this scroll view. Let's switch to design tab as it's easy to code here. Click on scroll view. In attribute, there's no ID given, so let's give it an ID. Bio underscore scroll. This is an ID that I have made. So now you can see that the scroll view, what it stated as unnamed, has been now changed to bio scroll. Now, now as we can see that it has also created a linear layout which we don't need. We can delete this code for now. Later on, as you can explore, you can keep that and add elements into it and experiment, but yeah, we'll be running out of time, so I'm not adding all those things. I have deleted the linear layout code. Let's drag in a text view into the scrollable part where we can write the bio for about ourselves. So I've chosen a text view. I'm dragging it in under the bio scroll. So as you can see, it creates a kind of folder. and inside which we can find a text view. If we switch to the code part, it's evidently visible that inside the scroll view we have created a text view. Everything matches with the default value. We can change the ID here to bio text. Remember to select the text view before changing the ID. Call it bio text. Let's refresh the code, and yeah, we have changed the ID. The text view that we just added is acts as a child element of bio scroll. Now we need to add a style to our text, but instead of coding the whole, adding the whole thing, we can reuse the style that we used for the name text. As we can reuse the same style that we used. To do that, in the resource dialog, let's search the attributes pane. Let's click on style attribute. Let's search for style here. And style in the vertical line that you'll find here, which says pick a resource. Click on that, and name style is what you have just created in the beginning for the name. We are going to reuse it as we had extracted it as a style. That's what we are going to reuse. Click on name style. Click on OK, and you can find that it has got a padding, a margin, the font size, everything that was same for the name part. To avoid confusion, I'll change the string from your name to I'll add my name so that you're not confused. I'll do it here. And yeah. And also so now we have this text view inside the scroll. So whatever text you add here, and as you scroll down in the app, you can see that only that particular part gets scrolled down. So let's do that as well. To add a text here, let's create an ID for the text. As you can see, let's create a new resource. String value, let's call it text underscore bio. This is what we'll be adding. For now, I'll just write a sample. This is my bio. Clicking OK, and it created a text bio ID, and yeah, it added the text. This is my bio, but we want some long text, so we can go to strings.xml file. Inside this text underscore bio that we just created, you can add as many things as you want. There are a lot of I'll add one. \n is used for next line, because what enter, like if you click on enter from keyboard, that won't go to the next line. So to go to next line, we go with /n, and we type I am the student at LPU. The next line I'm adding. If you want 2 lines, you can add 2 times /n. Yeah, and then I write I am making one Android application. I'm just creating many /n because I just want to demonstrate the scroll view, so that as it goes to next line, the scroll views can be easily demonstrated. So that's how our scroll view works. So that's why I'm adding so many /. I learned I'm learning the scroll view. Adding any random text you can actually properly format in good English and write your bio. This is not a bio that I've written. I have added text here. I have added image view. I'm just adding some random text so that this is for demonstrating. If we go to this app, we can see that a lot of things has text has been added. Now we see that the /n is displayed here, but it should not be displayed when we are in the app. So don't worry about that. Let's run and see how this looks. Yeah, now that this operation has been finished, I'll share my data. This area with a /n has come in the app as well. That could be because I didn't use proper spaces in between. That could have gone wrong. You can get rid of all the /n and all. You can actually add any random texts into the app so that you have that. Just to demonstrate the scroll view, I did this, but it doesn't seem that it worked. So I'll just add some other random text so that it does work. You can edit the file in the string.xml so that you have this. Just added some random text and I'm running the app. Okay, my screen is not being shared. Sorry for that. Yeah, here we can see that. Okay, let me add my image so that else I'll have to add more text into this. I'll change the image so that you can. It's easy for you to change the image. Click on the image view in the src compact. You can click on this vertical line, the imported image that I just said how to import. You can add that here. Yeah, now the image is big. If I rerun the app, I think that shall work. Yeah, now that I've changed the image, now if you scroll down through this, you can see that the scroll view has been enabled and you can scroll down through the app till the end. This is how the scroll view works with. I'll share the Android Studio code too. Second. Yeah, this is what we just added, and this is the app that goes scrolling down. So yeah, can resize this image. Seems to be too big. So that this file gets fully scrolled down. This is how the scroll view works. The code for today's session shall be shared to you after the session. It shall be updated in the same repository that's been shared in the chat. Yeah, this was all for today's session. Now I think we shall have some quiz or something of sort with that. Or we shall plan for tomorrow that as well. Any doubts in today's session, please feel free to ask. How many of you live coded along with me? Just now you have an app ready, that's why I'm asking. The code for this shall be shared, don't worry about that. All you need is a working internet connection to work with Android Studio. Yeah, but without that also it does work, but it might give you some error. Also, for the study jam program, you are going to show you the link from where you can get your digital badges for completing code labs. I'm sharing the link in the chat box. Just go to this link. You can find 2 courses there. Upon completing this, I'll open and show you. Just 1 second, it's getting going. Yeah, as you can see, there are 2 courses due to programming, which we had covered in the previous session, which has 2 units and total of 6 badges. And prior to programming experience that we started today, if we start the course, there are 10 badges. And upon completing all these 10 badges, you shall get a certificate from us. So, in your developer profile, this is going to show. This is going to show up. So, if you want to see my developer profile, I'll show you. These badges are reshareable, so that's good thing, so that you can keep showing your achievements all along. favorite badges on the top. I can also have all the 10 badges, and upon completion, even upon completion of all these 10 badges, you shall be getting a certificate from us. So that's all about it.